The Lost Puppy. It was a bright, sunny morning. The sky was blue, and the air was fresh. Birds chirped in the trees, and the sound of laughter filled the park. Children ran around, playing games, while adults sat on benches, enjoying the peaceful day. Tom, a young boy with kind eyes and a curious heart, walked through the park, holding his favorite book. He loved coming here, reading under the big oak tree. But today, something was different. As he turned a corner, he saw a small brown puppy sitting alone on the grass. The puppy had soft fur and big round eyes. It looked around nervously, its little tail tucked between its legs. It was clear. The puppy was lost. Tom knelt beside the puppy and gently reached out his hand. "Hey there, little guy," he said softly. "Where is your owner?" The puppy tilted its head and let out a tiny whimper. It had no collar, no leash, nothing that told Tom where it belonged. He looked around the park. People were walking, chatting, and playing, but no one seemed to be looking for a lost dog. Tom's heart ached for the puppy. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'll help you find your home." Carefully, he picked up the puppy and held it close. Its body was warm, and Tom could feel its tiny heartbeat. The puppy looked up at him, trusting, hopeful. Tom walked towards the park entrance, hoping to find someone looking for a lost pet. He stopped by the ice cream stand. "Excuse me," he asked the vendor, "have you seen anyone searching for a puppy?" The vendor shook his head. "No, son, but maybe you should check the notice board. Sometimes people leave messages about lost pets." Tom nodded and hurried to the notice board. His eyes scanned the papers pinned to it: babysitting services, yoga classes, missing bicycles, but no lost puppy notice. Just then, a voice spoke behind him. "That's a cute puppy you've got there." Tom turned around. It was an elderly woman with kind eyes. "Yes," Tom said. "I found him alone in the park. He looks lost." The woman smiled. "Maybe the animal shelter can help. It's just down the street." Tom thanked her and walked towards the shelter. The puppy snuggled against his chest, feeling safe in his arms. As he reached the shelter's door, he noticed a little girl inside, crying. Her mother tried to comfort her. Tom stepped inside. "Excuse me," he said. "Is something wrong?" The mother looked up. "My daughter Emma lost her puppy this morning. We've been looking everywhere." Tom's eyes widened. He looked at the puppy in his arms. "What's the puppy's name?" he asked gently. Emma wiped her tears. "Charlie." Tom's heart raced. He knelt down and placed the puppy on the ground. "Charlie?" he called softly. The puppy's ears perked up. It wagged its tiny tail and ran straight into Emma's arms, licking her face with excitement. Emma laughed, hugging Charlie tightly. "Charlie, you're back!" The mother's eyes filled with relief. "Oh, thank you, young man. We were so worried." Tom smiled. "I'm just glad he's home." Emma looked at Tom and then at Charlie. "Thank you," she whispered. "Charlie is my best friend." As Tom walked home that day, he felt something warm in his heart. He had made a difference. He had helped someone in need. And even though it was just a small act of kindness, it meant the world to Emma and Charlie. From that day on, whenever Tom visited the park, he always kept an eye out, not just for lost puppies, but for anyone who needed a helping hand. But that was just the beginning of Tom's journey. That night, as he lay in bed, he couldn't stop thinking about Charlie. He had always loved animals, but something about helping Charlie had made him feel truly special. Maybe, he thought, he could do more. The next day, he woke up early. After breakfast, he sat at his desk and opened his notebook. He wrote 3 simple words at the top of the page. Helping lost pets. Tom started researching ways to help animals. He learned about shelters, pet rescue centers, and ways to spread awareness. He even created small posters about what to do if you find a lost pet. He asked his parents if he could print them and put them up around the neighborhood. Every evening after school, Tom went to the park. He kept a lookout for any lost or stray animals. A week later, he found a scared-looking cat hiding under a bench. It took some time, but with patience, Tom gained the cat's trust. He gently picked it up and carried it to the shelter, where he learned the cat had been missing for days. The owner, an elderly man named Mr. Jenkins, was overjoyed to be reunited with his pet. Mr. Jenkins smiled warmly at Tom. "Son, you have a big heart. Not many people would go out of their way to help like this." Tom felt a rush of happiness. He realized that kindness wasn't just about big actions. It was about the little things. A single act of kindness could change someone's day, or even their life. As weeks went by, Tom continued his mission. People in the neighborhood started recognizing him as the pet finder. They would come to him whenever they needed help finding lost animals, and he never turned anyone away. One day, as he was putting up another missing pet poster, a news reporter approached him. "I've heard about the great work you're doing," she said. "Would you be interested in sharing your story with the local newspaper?" Tom hesitated for a moment, then nodded. If his story could inspire others to help, it was worth it. The next morning, his story was on the front page. "Young boy becomes local hero for lost pets," the headline read. Calls started coming in from other neighborhoods, asking for advice on finding lost animals. Tom realized that his small act of kindness had turned into something much bigger than he had ever imagined. And so, what started as a simple act of returning a lost puppy became a lifelong mission of kindness and compassion. Moral of the story: a small act of kindness can change not just one life, but many. Helping others creates ripples of goodness in the world.